This video is called Liturgy Part 2 in response to several comments I received on my first video on the liturgy. And some people made some good points. The first point they made was that I can't see inside of everybody's heart. So, right? The people who are reciting the liturgy, which is true. And my experience has taught me that most people are sincere, right? But that leads me to my first point, that even though I do believe most people are sincere, having spent 40 years in Christian culture and knowing tons of Christian people, they're mostly sincere, right? Sorry, dog just went whizzing by. That's a little bit of the problem, because when people are sincere and they believe that is getting them to where they need to be spiritually, then they're being misled, because the liturgy can only serve as like a very basic primer, right? To get you going, okay, like if a person's brand new to the faith, they can go, oh, okay, here's some things I should believe, and okay, I can make positive confessions over myself. And that's fine. That's a good starting point. But if it remains like that for the rest of the time, they're in trouble. And also, another one of my viewers, Sarah, aka Mom, said that speaking the word of God, which is alive, is always good. And I agree, because we do speak the word of God over ourselves. I do it regularly, but that's more of a availing myself of what God has done thing in order to change things in my life, which I fully believe in. And that's fine, but that can't, that's not as much of my relationship with God. Hello, Oreo. Hi, little puppy. Say hi. Say hi to everybody. Here's Oreo. It's a bit separate, right? Just making positive confessions of the Word of God over myself is certainly legit, and I do it regularly, but that can't constitute or comprise our relationship with God. And if we are deceived into believing that it does, then we're in trouble, okay? Because that's a small part. It's an important part, but it's not the whole thing, right? That leads us to the relationship with God, which is all-encompassing and real and authentic and genuine. And which leads me to my last point, is that I told one of my viewers that I would tell them why I am critical of these things. It's very logical. It's because you can see the fruit that they produce. And again, I'm not speaking out of arrogance. I'm speaking out of observation, right? Over 40 years in Christian culture, I've seen what these kinds of things produce, okay? They either produce people who have canned, stale relationships with God, because what you do is going to affect the rest of your life. If you believe that's the way your relationship with God should be, then that's how it's going to be. Sorry to have to say it that way. Or they produce people who leave and they go, this is boring, this is not lifeless, this is not love, this is not what I need, and they leave and they go somewhere else looking for love. Right? Why? Because human beings are created for love. That's what we're always looking for. Why? Because we're made in the image of God, who is love. And He created us first and foremost for love. So when people don't experience love with the one person they're supposed to experience it with at most, they leave looking for it other places. Seen it. Seen it in my own family, seen it in my friends, seen it in the world, seen it online. And when I see these kinds of things, I'm not going to just remain silent. Why? Because God doesn't like that either. When people leave Him and look other places for love, instead of staying with Him looking for love, and it's due to these things that don't lead people to love with him, I guarantee Jesus would have called it out. He'd have spoken to the Pharisees and said, you guys are like whitewashed tombs. People honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. I'm not talking about the people, I'm talking about the Pharisees and the practices that they teach to the people. And mainly kids, because in this church, it was full of kids, full of children. And the children are sitting there learning what? They're learning, oh, this is what it means to have faith in God. And I guarantee half those kids will leave when they grow up. Seen it? Why? Because I've seen it done many other times. It's very logical, right? And so I'm not going to just sit back and stay silent when these lifeless things are dragging kids away from the love of God. Thanks, and have a fabulous day.